New East was a 5-member group under Pledis Entertainment. They stuck together for 10 long years before officially announcing their disbandment on February 28, 2022. 3 of the members left the agency, while 2 remained with Pledis Entertainment. At face value, this may seem like an expected, normal disbandment. After all, very few groups ever make it past 10 years. But the more you look into this case, the harder it is to understand the reason it happened. This is the story behind New East and their sudden separation that left fans confused and heartbroken. New East debuted in 2012, but they struggled to gain traction in their early years. They faced the threat of disbandment only 5 years into their careers because of low sales and a weak fandom. However, determined to save their group and stay together, they went on a program called Produce 101, essentially downgrading themselves to trainees to get a fresh start. So even from way back then, it was very clear that the members cherished New East and would go to great lengths to save their group. Miraculously, they gained explosive popularity on the show, skyrocketing them from unknown artists to one of the most popular and best-selling idol groups in South Korea. Their unprecedented rise to fame has become one of the greatest reversal stories in the history of K-pop. So why then did they work so hard and put themselves through such a humiliating public experience to save the group back in 2017? Then, when finally reaping the benefits of their efforts, they disband a few albums later? It just wasn't adding up. When you know just how many times the members of New East express their desire for longevity, it becomes even more confusing. New East, in almost every interview they ever do, talk about their desire for New East to stay active for a long time. Because of the sheer number of these examples, it even became a running joke among the fandom. I'm going to quickly go through some of these examples, just to illustrate. In an article released on March 4th, 2016, New East mentioned that they want to stay together no matter what, just like Shinhwa. In a magazine interview in July 2018, Baekho expressed his wish to be with his members for as long as possible. In a V-Live released in July 2018, Ren spoke about New East meeting Shinhwa in the waiting room and the members thinking they could be like them. In a concert in March 2019, Jonghyeon told fans not to worry because New East will be together forever. In an article released in April 2019, New East said they want to be like Shinhwa or G.O.D. and stay as New East for a long time. In an episode of a show released on June 2019, Baekho said he wishes for New East to be together for 1,000 years. In a video released on November 2019, Baekho said his dream is to be New East's main vocalist forever. In a magazine interview released on December 2019, Aaron said that all members dream of New East promoting for a very long time, like Shinhwa. In an article released on May 2020, Jonghyeon said that New East is happiest when they're together and that they're the ideal team and his wish is to be with the members for a long time. In October 2020, Baekho says he wants to be with the members for a long time. In an interview released in December 2020, Minhyun addresses his members and said, "Let's believe in each other and walk together forever, just as we do now." In April 2021, Baekho said his dream was to remain active as New East forever. In a fan cafe letter posted on April 2019, Minhyun expressed that his only wish was for New East to be together for a long time, and he wants to protect the group until the end. In April 2021, Aaron said that the most important thing for him was to keep the New East name. In April 2021, Ren said that New East is his life, and that it's part of who he is, and he wants to keep New East together for a long time. In December 2021, less than 2 months before the disbandment announcement, Baekho said in a V-Live that he wants to be with New East for a long time. And those are just a fraction of such instances. So from this, it's clear that this desire to keep New East alive wasn't just a one-time passing thought or an insignificant empty promise they threw in one time to please their fans. It was repeated so many times. It became a part of their whole group identity, to the point that when member Minhyun was promoting with another group, they waited until he returned to promote under the name New East, hence the subunit New East W. In an interview released in April 2021, Ren even says, "There's always a reason when a team has been around for so long. We're not just making an album, performing on music shows, and doing whatever the label says. This is our life, and I think it's become part of who we are." Besides that, it was clear that the members subconsciously expected to renew their contracts from some of the things they said before the announcement. They promised comebacks and new seasons of their shows, and asked fans to look forward to New East in 2022. More notably, an announcement from Pledis on December 2021 implied an upcoming fan club renewal for New East. It is evident that the disbandment was a rushed, last-minute decision rather than standard negotiations on a regular timeline. And that becomes very clear when you see the production of New East's final album. Pledis albums are always hinted at months in advance, but this album was announced only 2 weeks in advance. Beyond that, the physical album is of very poor quality. There are many printing issues. The photo cards weren't properly mixed and varied, there are missing CDs and photo cards, and some of the pages are torn up. All of this points to rushed production, which further lends to the belief that disbandment was not the original plan. To make things even more weird, there were bus ads and hash flags planned for New East's 10th anniversary that ran for a month after New East was officially disbanded. And why would Pledis plan so much marketing for a disbanded group? It leads many to suspect that these were all planned before disbandment was on anyone's mind, and by the time the decision was made, it was too late to pull back. So, what happened? Why was this disbandment so rushed and unusual? One can only speculate, but many have drawn parallels between this disbandment and the disbandment of G-Friend. Both groups disbanded under unusual circumstances, and have made it clear that it wasn't a choice they made. G-Friend member So Won explicitly stated that the members and I didn't know the group was disbanded. It was really hard for us to accept it in our hearts because it was so sudden. Now, what did G-Friend and New East have in common? Both of their companies were acquired by none other than Hybe. Hybe owns 80% of G-Friend's company and 85% of Pledis, which makes Hybe a majority shareholder with decision-making power and the ability to overturn corporate decisions based on the direction they want the company to go in. Both New East and G-Friend are very popular and sustainable groups with sizable local fandoms. Groups with far less impact and much lower sales have renewed contracts with companies before. So you can't say the disbandment happened because the group is not profitable. New East's latest comeback before disbanding got a music show all kill and sold over 200,000 copies. In addition, New East concerts are always some of the best-selling shows in the country, up there with acts like BTS and Psy. They certainly make enough profit to stay afloat as a group. However, their international fandoms are not as sizable as other groups under Hybe. The focus of Hybe seems to be global expansion, and it may be that New East and G-Friend do not fit in with that vision. So, it is possible to assume that board members made the executive decision to stop investing in New East when they were acquired, which would explain New East's sudden inactivity post-acquisition. Before Hybe, New East would get 2 albums a year, but in the year and a half in which they were acquired by Hybe, they got only 1 album instead of 3. In those years, New East fans were very frustrated at how stymied New East's growth had become because of this inactivity. It was very clear that the group was put on the back burner post-acquisition. Now, the members are probably bound by many NDAs, so we can't hear from them directly about what happened, but they have said some things that clearly point to an unfavorable disbandment. Aaron, on his podcast, Korean Cowboys, stated that the disbandment decision was made for them, and also spoke about the anxiety and stress that came with it. Ren also spoke with detail about the physical and mental distress that came with the disbandment. Kim Jonghyeon, in a letter to fans, wrote that he was afraid that what he had built had collapsed like an empty house, and expressed that he was in a slump after parting ways with New East. Whatever happened, it has clearly caused the members a lot of distress and anxiety, and it was obviously not by choice. So imagine how it feels to be a fan of this group, to see them cherish their group as much as they did and go through great lengths to save it, only for everything to crash and burn as it did without any closure. We can only hope that, just like New East found a way to miraculously revive themselves before, they will find a way to revive themselves again in the future. Fans can only put their faith in the lyrics of their final song, which promises to meet again in March. Thanks for watching this video. Please support the New East members in their individual activities, all linked below. In particular, please subscribe to Aaron's podcast, Korean Cowboys, for some great K-pop related content. And last, but certainly not least, Hybe.